Hey Siri,
Uh-huh.
turn on all my lights.
Okay, done.
G'day everyone, how's it going? Coming at you from the studio tonight, and as you can see, I've made it a little bit smarter. I can turn off the light behind me or turn off my film light with a few smart bulbs from Mirabella. They're called Genio bulbs. They're not as expensive as the Philips Hue bulbs, but they're pretty cool. So if I say, hey Siri, turn off my hair light.
Okay, done.
Takes a little bit of time, but anyway, he gets there in the end because I actually changed Siri's accent and gender as well. So that's pretty funny too. A friend didn't know you could do that within the app or within the iPhone, but you can. So, hey Siri, turn on my hair light.
Okay, done.
There it is. So anyway, back into what this video is all about, and that's probably given my rank a terrible drop off. Anyway, this video is about the Canon RF 35mm 1.8, and I have it right here. And this lens is actually, if I could just get it to focus in on that, is awesome. It's probably, no jokes, my newest favorite lens. So as you all know, my favorite lens has been the f1.4 from Canon, the 24mm, which I'm filming on right now. And it's just a clutch lens. It's unreal for everything that I do. Many of the shoots I've done, I've shot with that, and especially on the EOS R and the 5D Mark IV before that with 4K, because we know it's got a crop. So the 24mm ends up being like a 45mm equivalent in 4K, which is actually quite a good framing point. I started out on a 50mm f1.8, and as a lot of us probably did, and so my interviews were framed up on that. So when I go 4K on the EOS R, it's around about the same focal length as that, which I really enjoy. So the f1.8 though, 35mm RF lens is out of this world. Amazing. It is amazing. And I haven't used it heaps, so this is not like an in-depth, intense review. But basically, the main features that this lens has that just makes it awesome is the image stabilization in it is unreal. So I'm going to show you some B-roll handheld shots that I've shot with this, just mucking around with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera on the gimbal, and that's all set up ready to go on a shoot. It's all balanced with the small rig cage, the small rig adapter for that, so you can get it to sort of slide sideways, really easy to set up. And because we interchange lenses on that as well, I needed something that could easily just be changed on the fly. So that's why I've got the small rig connector, or whatever you call it for that. I'll link below what it's called, or put it here what it's called. But basically, yeah, that is what I shot with this. And so you'll see these B-roll clips are just all shot handheld and in 50 frames a second or 60 frames a second, I think, and then I just slowed it down in post. But it's just awesome how well this lens does with the IS. And other crazy good feature is it's got a macro functionality. So in terms of what it can do close up, it's awesome. So for any product detail or any kind of product photography where you want to get really close in, this lens is unreal for that. And I didn't realize it had a macro, otherwise I probably would have got it a lot sooner had I known it had that macro setting. But just the image quality out of this lens, being RF and on the EOS R body, it's amazing. I love how there's no adapter, and it's got a control ring. So it's got a control ring which I set to the ISO, and then the focus is nice and positive, nice and smooth as well. It kind of racks a little bit differently. You got to get used to the way it focuses, because it kind of you know, when you push the focus, you can kind of push it, and it almost like it creeps forward a little bit further forward. So it's not like it's got a hard stop, but I do like it, and I got used to using that pretty quickly. And so you just got to be sort of nice and gentle with it and smooth with it, and then it will kind of follow what you're doing. So I love that feature about it. So yeah, what else can I say? The framing good for this setup. So this shot here, I'm on a 24 now, and I'm just finding this a little bit too wide. You're seeing a little bit too much of my house. You're seeing my doorway there. You're seeing the edge of my screen here. So when I put this now on the tripod here and frame it up in 35mm, it's giving me that more pleasing look to the footage. So that's kind of why I really like the look of it as well. And yeah, it's just a nice sharp image. It's a really sharp lens. So even if I shoot in like 1080p on the EOS R, I love the 1080p on the EOS R. If I shoot it in that and then upscale it to 4K, which this video has been upscaled to 4K, you'll see how it looks. And what I shot with this, the B-roll that I shot, which I'll show you some more of now as well. I shot that with this lens and I'm upscaling that to 4K as well, and that was shot in 60 frames a second full HD. So as you can see, it's pretty sharp and a pretty good lens for anything that you're shooting and want to upscale for YouTube uploads to get that 4K tick of approval. And the other thing I can say is like how it feels with the R. It's a really good weight to it. It's quite light, but it's a really good size. So it's remnants of the 50mm 1.8, and because I began my journey on that 50mm F1.8, the cheap nifty 50 from Canon before it went to the STM setup, I really liked that lens. And yeah, what I can say is that this kind of feels like that, and you know, in the hand to shoot with and to hold it, and you know, the focus, and it's just really positive lens. You know, any way you want to, even holding the camera like that, you know, with the grip. It's super positive, super good to shoot with. So, you know, I really like that about this lens. And the price point is also unreal for this lens. So, you know, when looking at the 24mm f1.4 on the EOS R, you got to get the adapter. So it's another $200, $300 plus the lens itself is still about $2,000, I think, for that lens. So here you're looking at the EOS R body at the moment, you can get as cheap as about 2,000, and then you're looking at like $600. I think it's 650 Australian dollars, or maybe a little bit more, 700 Australian dollars. So maybe it's about 550 US dollars. So to get that, you know, for the body, and it's going to do just as well as the 24mm f1.4, I reckon. It's just as sharp and just as nicely nice to look at, just as easy to use. It's got the IS, it's got the macro settings, so it beats out the 24mm by a little bit, and that framing is only a little bit different. So whereas I could probably have this 24 like sitting right here on my desk, you know, right like closer to me, then this has just got to be that little bit further away. So my desk is a little bit off the wall. I put my tripod back behind the desk, and you can get away with shooting like this, no problem whatsoever. So I feel like that's where this lens kind of comes into its own. It's a really good, instead of getting the kit lenses, which, you know, over $1,000, you can kind of get this lens set up. You've got a really good focal length. You've got the f1.8 low aperture, so you can get that low depth of field. And yeah, it really just sits well and suits the body. Everything works as it should. So hope you guys got something out of that content. Look, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you give a thumbs up and put a comment below on some videos you want to see from me. You probably heard a bit of the content I've been putting out lately around C-Log and around the EOS R, and also my views on the EOS R5, which I just did a live stream a couple of nights ago on that. So I want to hear thoughts. What do you want to know? What is it that you need to you need help with, or anything at all? Comment below and I'll get back to you. I try and get back to every single comment. I do my best. Sometimes I miss a couple, but generally I'll get back to your comments. And yeah, hope you're doing well in this season. Hey, just know that this season is going to come to an end and everything will go back to some kind of normalcy in time. So just hang in there wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, just hang in there. Keep moving forward, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Hey Siri, leave studio for the night.